Hi, this is Matthew Robert Payne. This is Tolu Sarah Johnson, and together this is a book called Reframe Heaven. This is chapter number 18, and this may be your favorite chapter.
Well, it might be because this is what Kerr this speak about. The name of the title is "This is where you understand rewards are real, not symbolic but experiential." I love that. It is experiential. You experience it. You just don't have something that's been given to you. Maybe, for instance, a medal. A medal can be symbolic, but heaven is not just about being symbolic, it is about how you experience your life as well, which of course can be largely depend on your rewards. So when my husband passed on, I knew nothing about heaven. I didn't know Jack, zero knowledge. But I read a book from Kaka. And that book did tell me about rewards. Oh my God, the lovely houses, the thing. And to be candid, I was at peace. When I started reading about heaven, I'm like, okay, Ben is in a happy place. You can be at peace now. So it kind of gave me sort of consolation that, okay, you don't want him to be here suffering. You want him to be somewhere where he's happy. So we've all assumed that when God spoke of rewards, it meant it figuratively, like poetic language, symbolic ideas, nice concepts to comfort you. But it is not just symbolic, it is real, it is tangible, it is something you will actually experience. And those rewards, when God is talking about reward, is quite interesting. Sometimes I'm amazed by what he says. I can never forget the day Steve Jobs described, I don't know whether it was Matthew that described the house of Steve Jobs for me. It was beautiful. And it's good to know that rewards are not just abstract, that they are literal, they are tangible, they are something you experience. And it becomes real. They are not fake, vague feelings. When you asked me about my relationship with God before, it was vague. It was not literal. It just sounds symbolic. I cannot even touch what it was. So if you've got vague relationship with God, if you've got Bible relationship with God, you know what I mean by Bible relationship. If you've got that figurative relationship with God, how do you think you're going to understand heaven? You would think everything is so big, but it's good to know that rewards are no longer vague feelings for me. They're not spiritual metaphors or distant promises. They are things that I feel that I'm already experiencing now. Because having a beautiful relationship with God is more than any reward I can ever receive. Because I live it now. I even though I may not see it, but I know that when I get to heaven, it's something I'll be able to see, I'll be able to touch, it's something I'll be able to feel. Because heaven is real and everything within it is real. And your reward can shape your environment. It can shape the way you experience heaven. Because even where you live will reflect it. Because I could remember reading Kalke book and it was going personal about if you like rustic houses, you get rustic houses. If you like old antiques, you get old antiques in your house. If you like modern, of course, I am not old antiques person. Sorry, I don't want old antiques. I love modern. I love simplicity. Like that is just me. But she was saying, if that's what you love, that's what you get. And not everyone receives the same dwelling. I can't remember. I think it must be Papa that said, "So, do you think that people that have lived in the remote, in the bush, remote villages, towns, cities, like that, they are used to living inside a house that was built with mud, I think. Do you think you're going to give them a modern house in heaven? They will not be able to connect with it because that's not the life they were used to. So maybe there's a art in heaven, but they still have everything easier. They can cook easier. They don't need to go and fetch firewood like you do on earth. I don't know how that looks like, but I know that homes are tailored to you. Some expansive, some are detailed, some are deeply personalized. I know Matthew would love to talk about rewards. He can give you a little bit of walkthrough of how his house in heaven is. Others might be simple, might be modest, might be suited to their comfort because it reflects your life, not to compare, but to express what was built within you. That's how I see all of this rewards. And rewards can be very, very deeply personal. It's not generic, it is specific. Even small acts matter in heaven, like everything that what you did, even quietly, somebody that you remember. All of these things are accumulating reward for you. And I could tell you, when I first of all met Matthew, one thing I noticed about Matthew is he is a reward smuggler. If you're not careful, he's going to smuggle your rewards. And I'm smart. So I'm like, Matthew, you are not smuggling my reward. I could share with you, but don't bring your smart ideas here. But he knows what he does. He knows how to get half of somebody else's reward or even get more of the rewards from them. And I'm like, this guy is so smart. I will follow in his footsteps. And I can tell you, if you're not careful, I will smuggle your rewards from you. And it's not just because I like to pile up rewards, but it's just fun. If you don't know, if you don't understand the value of what you owe, I will get it from you. And that's just it. And it's reflected back to you in ways that are meaningful, in the way that are personal, in the ways that are unmistakable, because God notices everything, even what no one else saw. He notices. And reward expands your experience, not just what you have, but what you can access. And this is where you start going deeper, because reward influences your realm, your awareness, your proximity. Because capacity matters. What you became determines what you can receive in heaven, if you can. And one thing that I've come to know is closeness with God is a reward. It is not something that you automatically receive. I thought everyone gets to heaven and then God sees them. And God said, no, Tolu, there's so many people that have been in heaven for centuries, they've never seen me. Because it's something you need to work towards. So intimacy is a reward. Not because God withholds it, but because not everyone pursued it. You have to pursue it. IRMs carry different access, from shared environment to deeply personal encounters, moment of private fellowship, time with Him. Like that, for me, that's the best reward that you could ever have. Conversation with God, understanding from Him. But all of these things are reward. So heaven feels like completion for many. But also it is a rest after assignment. This is where you want to be at peace with God. I know somebody was saying something yesterday about Queen Elizabeth, and the person said, oh, Queen Elizabeth is gonna roll in his, how do they call it? Is it in your tomb? Do you know that statement, Manchu, that they always say?
Roll in the grave.
Yeah, rolling in the grave. I'm like, are you kidding me? She's not in the grave. She's not rolling in the grave. But that's what people think. But your life was a mission, and heaven becomes release, relief, and restoration. And I am looking forward to those things. I'm looking forward to the relief. I'm looking forward to the restoration. Sometimes I wish I'm done, but I guess I still have more to go here, more journey to complete. So reward begins before you arrive. They are not only your future. That's what I said earlier on. It is important that some rewards begin on her. You may experience heightened awareness of God. For me, that's a reward. Deeper connection with God. That's a reward. Clearer guidance. That is a reward. Matthew is so close to heaven that that man, I always tell you, is very, very crazy. It's like all the things he'll be telling you, oh, Tiffany, I can see you in your bikini, I'm like, Matthew. Yes, it's living close to heaven that he is in Australia. because it's got this moment of clarity, encounter the presence of God that he experiences every day. And I must tell you, it's those little things or great things that you might call it great things or whatever you want to call it that keeps me going here. That's what keeps me going. Those rewards that build through alignment with him, not performance, just communication, just relationship. It's not about doing more. It's not about trying harder because I've not done all of those. I've not done more. I've not prayed 2 hours prayer since I've known God in this past 2.5 years. I don't even think I've done 30 minutes of prayer. But then when I was in Christianity, that's what I had to do, even though I don't want to do it. So it's not about trying harder. It's not about earning favor. It's just about being aligned in alignment with God, loving him deeply, responding faithfully, walking in purpose with him. It's so much simpler than the church has made it. So not what you claim, but what you lived is what matters more, because this is where everything becomes honest. What matters is how you loved, how you gave, how you responded. It never says how many times you did go to church, how many times you did do that prayer program, how many times you paid your tithe. It's good to pay your tithe, but how you loved is the key. So even the smallest outcome, a moment of kindness, a simple gesture, a quiet act of love. Nothing is isolated. Even what you've invested in others, they are not isolated. What you supported, what you helped build is carried forward. You share in what grows from it. And this changes how you live. It has changed the way I live now, because now I see things clearly. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is ignored. Nothing is forgotten. Because the lie that fall away is, this is where you need to start releasing the belief that rewards are just symbolic. And let the truth replace it that rewards are real. They shape your environment, they shape your experience of heaven, they shape your access, they shape your capacity. And you don't want to waste your time here. So the shift begins that this is where you stop living casually and begin living consciously. Consciously, not consciously in religion, but consciously in relationship. Not in pressure, but in purpose. So I hope you've been blessed with this chapter, and I'll pass you on to Matthew.
I just want to share with you the fact that one of the rewards that you'll have in heaven, that you'll hear Kerr and you'll hear other people speak about, is your house in heaven. I don't like to call it mansion. I don't like to refer to my house in heaven as a mansion, but for over the course of a couple of years, God the Holy Spirit used to take me on visions of my house in heaven, and on the lower floor, on the first floor, it's 4 floors high. On the lower floor, there's a commercial kitchen that you find in a restaurant, and there's a nice living room. On the wall of the living room is a picture of a lion and a lamb. And if you walk up to the picture, the lion and the lamb became real, and it becomes a portal to a children's playground. And all the children in the playground are children that have been aborted. And I find children really comforting. So from my house, I can just go and visit children. On another wall is a picture of Mary Magdalene washing Jesus' feet with her tears. And in the Bible, that reference of that sinner was Mary Magdalene. And if you go into that portal, it becomes alive, and you go to Mary Magdalene's house. I was deceived for 16 years in a delusion, thinking I was one of the world's last prophets. I was the Elijah who was to come, and in the midst of that delusion, I kept on saying, Jesus, let my reward be that I live next to Mary Magdalene. And I didn't get a house next to Mary Magdalene, but I got a portal. So for whenever I enter that portal, I go into her house and I can be close to her. I don't know if many people in heaven have a portal to Mary Magdalene's house. I don't think they do. She's an important person in heaven. So that's another thing. Besides house, relationships become a reward. The fact that I'm very close with John Lennon, I'm very close with Mary Magdalene, I'm very close with Michael Jackson, I'm very close to the Queen with Freddie Mercury. Uh, so relationships are a reward in heaven, and they're rewards I've already got before I go to heaven. I've got solid relationships with those people. If you go from my living room up to the first floor, there's a 50-meter swimming pool there, and I never knew the reason for the swimming pool until recently. I've been using the swimming pool, and then there's a 50-seat cafe after the swimming pool, and it's got a couple of baristas at the cafe, and it's a restaurant. Like a cafe that's got its own cooking facility. And then if you continue, the cafe goes out on a balcony that overlooks the water. And if you continue down the hallway, on the left-hand side, there's a movie theatre that seats 100 people, and the cafe serves food into the movie theatre. So it's like a luxury movie theatre where you can have snacks and food in the movie. On the right-hand side, there's a recording studio and a TV studio, and it just continues on the first floor, on the second floor, on if you call the first floor the second floor, on the third floor is my parents' house, and I get to live with my parents for eternity. And on the fourth floor is their bedrooms and stuff. So it's I found one feature in my house. I always my cousin when I was growing up had a saltwater tank, a fish tank, and I really loved his fish. In my house, in the first and second floor, in all the walls is like a 1 meter glass fish tank, and the fish tank goes in every wall, and there's fish swimming in the fish tanks in every wall in the house, and the fish follow you from bedroom to bedroom. Uh, I have given some homeless people, bought homeless people Coca-Colas in bottles, and I was told by God that in my house in heaven I've got a special tap. If I turn on the tap, it comes out with Coca-Cola. And so I've got an unending supply. Remember, it says in the Bible, not using too many Bible references, but it says whatever you do to people that you do in private, you'll be repaid in heaven. And so I've got unending Coca-Cola. There's no money in heaven, so I gave a lot of money away in my life, thousands of dollars. But there's no money in heaven, but there are rewards. I I'm a close friend of God's, and I'm a close friend of Jesus. So having access, I've got high level access into heaven. I can visit heaven and meet anyone I like. I have the ability to talk to any saint, any person who's passed on, and have a relationship with them. And that's access. That's the same as in government, that you get certain access to certain files or certain people. So I've got like high level access. So, like I said in the former chapter, life is a dress rehearsal. Prepare your life as though you're going to live in a throne room and you're going to live with a king. prepare yourself to live in a king's establishment, and you might very well live with Jesus and live in his authority. But if you're not prepared to meet a king, if you don't think you're ever worthy of meeting King Jesus, well, then you maybe won't.
Wow. I love that, Matt. You just took us a tour around your house. We need to have good imaginations, isn't it, to be able to see all of those things. But the saint that will speak into this chapter, who I think understands reward so much better, is Mary Magdalene.
Matthew mentioned that there's a portal in his house to my house, and the other end of that portal is like a doorway, and I've got a doorway that walk through, and I'm in Matthew's house. So it's not just one way. It's not just that Matthew can enter my house. Whenever I feel that I want to be encouraged and uplifted, I can just walk to that portal and arrive in Matthew's house. Of course, the Holy Spirit arranges things like that. If I'm not in my house, Matthew won't feel the inclination to approach the portal. It'll only be when I'm home and I've got free time. And the same for me if I want to visit Matthew. Matthew's ascended to a high place in heaven. One time Jesus called him the darling of heaven, and Matthew responded and said, "You're the darling of heaven." And Jesus said, "You're like me. You've become like me." So I count it a real privilege to be a friend of Matthew's. If you can receive it, and you don't have to receive it, you can just hear this and put it on the back burner and think about it for years until you get revelation that it's true. But in a former life, Matthew was an angel, and thousands of years ago, he was a guardian angel. And when I lived on earth, Matthew was my guardian angel. So he basically led me to salvation in Jesus and led me to go and see Jesus for the first time. So when I was bowing at Jesus' feet and wiping his feet with my hair and putting perfume on his feet, Matthew was standing beside me as an angel, leading me to do that. So Matthew's very close, and having a relationship with me is part of his reward and something he's always focused on. And I tend to be the closest person to Jesus in heaven. There's no one more intimate with Jesus in heaven. And by focusing on me all his life, Matthew's become extremely close to me. Each week in heaven, we have competitions, and one of the competitions is for who is closest to Jesus that week. And Matthew has won that competition multiple times against me. So it's a friendly competition. And anyone's welcome to enter that competition. You can enter that competition from earth. It just takes a lot of work to be the closest to Jesus. I commend that to you. Matthew's got a book called 7 Keys to Intimacy with Jesus. I encourage you to get that book and go through the process of becoming close to Jesus, because like Tolu said, having a relationship with God, having a relationship with Jesus, having access to them and meeting them face to face and sitting at their feet, it's just one of the most clearest and best rewards you can have in heaven. And when you're intimate with Jesus, you'll have that opportunity.
Oh, thank you, Mary Magdalene. Wow. Matthew, I feel like having another person to speak to this chapter. Oh, is he okay?
Yeah.
Bethany. Let's hear from an angel. Rewards.
So I'm Matthew's scribe angel, and I've helped Matthew write his 215 books, and produce his thousands of videos, and I've also helped Tolu do over 140 books. I work with her, and we also do interviews each night with Saints from Heaven, and I adjudicate that and help facilitate that each night. So I'm pretty, I'm lovely. I'm part of Matthew's reward. He'll get to partner up with me when he gets to heaven, and that's something that you can put on the back burner for yourself to see. I can appear as a human without wings. I can appear as a female with wings. Yeah. So I enjoy, as a scribe angel, I have a teaching gift. So I anoint a person with a teaching gift. Before Matthew, years ago, I worked with famous Christian author C.S. Lewis, and I was the one that was giving him the words to write in his books. And you can imagine certain authors and certain preachers are inspired by the Holy Spirit and are similar to me. When I am a person scribe angel, they're inspired by my words, the words I have. So I have great theology, perfect theology, and ever-changing theology. Matthew's got ever-changing theology as I bring it to him. Yeah, with theology, your understanding of God, your biblical understanding of God, that needs to be open to change. You have to be humble and submitted and childlike faith to be able to change and transform in your theology. I'm a hard-working angel. When I work with people, people work hard and do a lot of work. And I've been responsible for a lot of good work. Matthew's books and videos allow me to win awards in heaven, and I'm constantly winning awards in heaven with Matthew's work. So Matthew's not only building up rewards for himself and getting heavenly rewards, but he's constantly getting me heavenly rewards. And so we're a good team working together.
Wow. Thank you, Bethany. So to close, rewards are not metaphors. They're real, they're tangible, they're experienced. From what people have said now, you can see that people are really, really experiencing and enjoying their reward. They reflect your life, they expand your capacity, and they shape your heaven. So it's not given randomly. It has to be formed through who you became. And when you begin to see that, you stop chasing recognition and you begin to invest your life into something that will be lived, felt, and experienced long after this life ends. God bless.
God bless you, everybody. Enjoy yourself.